Right, welcome back and many thanks for staying with us right here on Morning at 10 TV. First, forward with an update before we get into this conversation. Remember, 7 new cases of the Omicron variant were registered in this country of ours, Uganda. So clearly, you need to go for these vaccinations to ensure that you increase your chances of being protected in the event that you get infected with this new variant of Omicron, which has 50 mutations, 32 of which are attached to the spike protein, part of this virus that enters the human cells in that regard. So please watch out and protect yourselves in that regard. Vaccinations and also wearing of face masks and social distancing in that regard. Let's talk about the fight against corruption that government seems to be losing, even though they are coming up with various initiatives left, right and center. You also do have the IGG, Betty Kamia, who has now come out to say, well, she's going to be expediting a lifestyle audit. If you're receiving 100,000 Uganda shillings a month and you are spending over 200 million Uganda shillings a month, there is something really that has to be scrutinized. How so? And how does that come about? And is that really a good strategy that will clamp down or fizzle out corruption in Uganda? A gentleman in my midst doesn't seem to agree, so he would like to or beg to differ. His name is Joseph Karamira. He is the Chief Executive Officer for Ovulator Investments. He's actually telling me before we got on here that government is going about the fight against corruption the wrong way. But how so? Very good morning, Joseph. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Indeed. So you come with wealth of information pertaining to how we can fight or clamp down on corruption. And by the way, you were telling me that government is going about this the wrong way. Take me through this.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank government and particularly President Yoweri Museveni because he has done the best thing that could have been done. We have laws in place, we have institutions fighting corruption, and we have judiciary doing its part, and everything. First of all, corruption, we need to first understand what corruption is.
Indeed.
And the war that we are fighting. When you're fighting an enemy, you need to first study the enemy before you start advancing. So corruption, first of all, the way we've been fighting it, we need to give it to the right people who are fighting, who should be fighting it. And these are the wananchi, the public.
People like me and you.
Yes, people, me and you, are the ones who should be fighting corruption.
The guy in Chikubo.
Yeah, the guy in Chikubo, the person in Bumeru, the person in the village. These are the people who should be fighting corruption.
How so, Joseph? We do not have the technological advancements. We do not have the money or the financial muscle to actually go ahead and expedite activities that will stamp down or clamp down corruption, if you will. How will we, as citizens, in in the wake of these insufficiencies I just mentioned, be able to actually pull this off?
First of all, let me first make it very clear.
Please do.
Corruption, as we see it, we need to first understand it, what it is. And it's
let's understand it from your perspective. Help us understand it.
It is misuse of power entrusted to somebody for private gain. This misuse of power is done all over, not only money, but by all groups of people in Uganda. Yes.
It might be a favor.
Yes. So in government, which is public, when you're fighting corruption, you have to make public information. It has to be public. For instance, the biggest corruption is in procurement. The biggest corruption is in compensation, in land. So what you have to do is government should make these areas more public. They should put their lights so that people can have access to this information. When they have access to information, then they will come out and then fight the problem. Just an example. If all procurement contracts, for instance, are made public, and each district, for instance, each district has they have websites, they have information. Each district on the website, they put out the contracts, the details, the specific details, and then people will come out and show the IGG or wherever is supposed to be fighting corruption the problem. And
like what the PPDA is doing.
Yes.
The electronic digitization of how they are doing their work. Yes. The bidding of the contracts. They are making it public.
Yes. And after making it public, they have to open, they have to arrange so that the information will go through very quickly. Right now, if you notice, for instance, the anti-corruption of State House, the unit at State House, they put there the toll-free lines for the public to call in, and people called in, but now they are stuck with so many cases because they are not going through. They are somewhere they are getting stuck. So and now the IGG wants to do the same. She wants to put out the helplines and then still get the same problem. So they should first understand what the problem is. The problem right now with corruption is that if we are losing, for instance, I had her saying we are losing about 10 trillion shillings. I had her saying we are losing about 10 trillion shillings. If we are losing 10 trillion shillings, then it means how much are we getting back from the 10 trillion shillings?
I see.
You get my point?
I get you.
So if we are not getting out the money that is being lost, it means that strategy is not working.
We are working in negatives.
Yes. So now the strategy should be to stop the corruption. And how do you stop the corruption? Because if I know that I'm going to steal money and be caught or going to be exposed, then I want to do it. So the strategy should be share all the information with the public. Make corruption cases public. Put them on the websites. Put the contracts on the websites. For instance, let UNRWA put the compensations that are done on the websites.
Indeed.
Then people will come out and pick, I said, there's a problem here, there's a problem here, there's a problem here. And now, through that, we can fight. But government should be ready to those that go through, that are not stopped, they should be ready to work out in the judiciary. Where cases, because I had the IGG saying that cases collapse in the courts of law. The problem might not necessarily be the judges or the judiciary. The problem might be that people are compromised in investigations. Yeah, so we need to first understand the problem and then fight the enemy.
Of course, people are compromised in the investigations. You do have a victim of maybe rape or defilement. The police will first ask for money to go to a medical center to be checked. So if I do not have money, chances are this case is not going to make it to court because it was suffocated at the initial stage. Is this the corruption we are talking about? The fact that police officers are asking for kitu kidogo to dispense justice in that regard?
Yeah, but you see, when there is public awareness, then that vice will stop. Because if I know that I'm not supposed to do that, and the police officer also knows that I'm not supposed to do that, then it should stop automatically. So
there should be an avenue for me to report, in fact, this police officer.
Yeah, and also we should notice that there are networks, corruption networks, which are stronger. So when these people are putting in place, the one government is putting in place mechanisms to stop corruption, they should do tests. For instance, if we put the helpline, they should also call and see how successful it is. So that when the people are calling, then they understand what they are going through. Yeah, but when politicians should come out and educate the people and tell the people about the problem, and so that it is known everywhere, and then it will just die by itself. You see, corruption is attracted to what I can call darkness.
Indeed.
So where there's darkness, where there's secrets of information, then it creates that corruption problem. But when you put that light, it will automatically go. There will be no need to tell the police officer to ask for money.
Of course, the first point to make sure that corruption goes away is to shine a light on these different forms of corruption. What are they? Break them down for the viewers so that they could be able to identify it when it happens. I just mentioned the issue of the police officers. That could be one example. What are the other forms of corruption? The viewer should be able to identify it and actually issue a red flag.
Well, corruption, there are many ways, many types of corruption, but the major ones which are taking a lot of money when it comes to procurement is is whereby government officers get involved and hike prices, and when the prices are hiked, then they get their commission or money after the payments have been done.
So the deal is 10 million, we inflate it to 200 million.
Yeah,
and the rest is mine as the
and
officer.
Then it comes back. But now, if it is put, if all these contracts are put on the website,
online, yes,
like
then
you
doing
know
now.
That no, you can't buy this product at this amount of money.
Indeed.
Then of course they will stop. They will stop automatically. Another one is, for instance, the one of road compensations. For instance, the UNRWA, whereby I inflate the price, the valuation of the property. And then I tell you, I'm going to make it 200 million shillings, 50 is mine. If you don't allow, I'll sell it. I'll value it at 80 million shillings.
I see.
And then the other type, of course, is where still with INRA, is whereby they subdivide the plots of that property, and then get one for you, give you the money, and you think they're paying for everything. Then these other two, they give them to pay different people.
Wow.
And then they take the money.
Wow.
So if this information is made public, then
Ugandans would be able to know.
Yes.
What else? Yeah. What other manifestations are there of corruption?
Well, corruption is very deadly. It's more deadly than terrorism. It's more deadly than COVID-19 because it takes a lot of money. People die. They're supposed to get to medicine in hospitals. There's no medicine. People die.
I go to a government hospital to get some free TB services or even medicine, and the officer is telling me, please cough some money. That is corruption.
Yeah, also that one is corruption. And you see, it is very, very deadly. So we should put there a lot of effort, the same effort we are using to fight, for instance, terrorism. Yeah, and you see these rules we have, the whatever that are supposed to be fighting corruption. We have so many. We have, for instance, about 15 laws that are in place. So we shouldn't be adding there more. They will be confusing. What we should do now is teamwork, coordination, because anti-corruption fight is like a moving vehicle. And government is one tire, the judiciary is another, then everything. So the dashboard of the car is what should be coordinating, so that we are all moving in the same direction.
But at the moment, you do have the anti-corruption unit headed by Nakalema on its own. You do have the IGG, Betty Kamye doing her own thing on her own, but all of them are working towards fizzling out corruption. So they are not moving in tandem. Do you think if they are operating like that to actually win the war? Because for you, you're calling for a concerted effort.
They should learn from each other.
Synergies.
The best practices being done by the ACU, Anti-Corruption Unit of State House, should be done by the IGG, or the best practices of IGG should be done by this. And they should work together as a team with government and other stakeholders, so the vehicle is moving. What I can call wheel alignment of the tires. They should be wheel alignment, so they're all moving in the same direction.
What is wrong with the current system that they are employing right now?
Well, right now, you will find a minister is sacking people because of corruption. The Attorney General is saying bring them back.
I see.
You will find that one is communicating this, another is communicating that problem. You find one is using best practices, another one is not using. So there's a lot of, and you find they are saying bring in your cases, yet they already have overloaded with the cases. So there's no coordination, there's no teamwork, and they're not using the chances to opportunities. An opportunity is when there's a problem. When there's a problem, you need to analyze the problem and see how can I stop it from happening again. So when those problems, when those cases come up, they are not analyzed so that we don't do the same mistakes. When you go to judiciary, there are so many cases that are learning points that should help us understand the problem and then fight it. Yeah. So we need to accept and do all this work as a team. If you're going to move as a car, you can't move one tire alone. If the IGG says she's going to fight and with herself she's going to fight, she should remember this is a car moving. One tire will not leave the other tires and move alone. So however much she puts in effort, if she's not working with these other teams, the car will still move.
Well, according to the IGG's special purpose vehicle that is geared towards, fighting this pandemic of corruption, she actually did say she was going to expedite a lifestyle audit. This is whereby if Romy Busiku is receiving some 100,000 Ugandan shillings, they would go back and say, how did I purchase this car worth 200 million Ugandan shillings? Where did I get the money? Do you think a lifestyle audit will go a very long way in helping us stamp out this problem that has been dogging this country since time immemorial?
Well,
lifestyle audit.
Well, you're talking about lifestyle audits. Yes. I think it's already their leadership code, more or less the same. Just calling it another name. It will still.
The leadership code was never implemented.
Yeah, all these laws that are there, we should now concentrate and fight the war. First, understand the problem, because if you don't understand the problem, you'll be shadowboxing.
So you mean she doesn't understand the problem by talking about lifestyle audits? What's wrong with the lifestyle audits?
Well, corruption is a very big problem. If, for instance, you talk about what she's saying, it is a small part. People will always change. You see,
yeah, because right now the money is moving in boxes. It's no longer going on the account.
You see,
because they know they're going to be scrutinized.
The corruption network is more organized. If you talk about that, I can invest my money in Kenya.
Yeah.
I can invest my money elsewhere. I can invest my money where you don't see. You already know.
You can receive it in cash.
Yes. So we need to understand the problem as a team and find a solution. Because if we don't, the car is moving at now 23 kilometers per hour instead of 80. You will not change anything if you're not working using the dashboard. The dashboard is the speed, where there's a speedometer, knowing what to do, knowing the tire pressure is low, or this or this or this. We need to move as a team. Coordination is what is key. Teamwork is key. Then using opportunities as they arise. So we need to go back on the drawing board, accept that we've failed, and learn how to do it the right way.
How much has been lost to corruption?
Well, if I'm saying the dashboard is not working, what I'm going to say is what is guessed, because no one knows. But according to her information, she said about 10 trillion a year. But according to our research, it should be more than that.
Indeed.
Yeah, it should be more than that. Yeah, so we need to go back on the drawing board and look at the problem, give the word to the people, give the word to the people, because they are the ones who are going to manage. Make public information public. I don't see why we shouldn't share some of this information with the public, because they are the ones who understand and the ones who are going to come up. Then we should see what is the objective. Is the objective getting back all this money stolen? Because if we are losing for 10 trillion, how much is coming back?
What can the dear citizen do, Joseph, if the corrupt people are those in power? The people wielding too much power are those who are actually engaged in these corrupt tendencies. The president knows them. He has come out one too many times to say, I have lists. He didn't say evidence. He said, I have lists of individuals who have been put before my table showing that they were actually involved in unscrupulous activities. But I do not have evidence to prosecute. So if the person in the topmost chair, the commander-in-chief, knows these people but has no evidence to prosecute, what are the chances that the young man in Chabakuza will actually do something to clamp down on corruption with no money, no moral authority whatsoever to actually do the same?
First of all, the power is with the people. Because they're the ones...
The people have not been empowered, Joseph.
The people, I'm telling you, the power is with the people. I know that one.
On paper, that is the Constitution.
Well,
but they are not
you think
empowered.
it's on paper, but I'm going to give you an example.
Please do.
Let UNRWA put the compensation money on their websites.
First, interrogate the president.
Yes.
Why the commander-in-chief?
I'm going to come to that. Let the people put the money, let UNRWA put, for instance, the compensation details on website. People will come out. They'll have the evidence. The problem that is
they will come out verifiably, Joseph,
the problem
if you
with
didn't
lack
have a 12% tax on data,
the problem,
if you didn't have all these clampdowns, like the clampdown on social media. Many of these young people that you want to join the fight are on Facebook, 3.3 million, but many of whom have gone largely silent or inactive because they can't access these social media platforms to blow the trumpet on corruption, simply because we still have a clampdown on corruption. And when I say the corrupt people are wielding too much power, it could be these individuals coming up with these decisions, because like you said, if information is kept in the dark, corruption proceeds. Well,
the president says that there is no evidence because of one major reason. The corruption network infiltrates the investigators.
I see. Because they are the investigators.
Not all of them. They infiltrate the investigators. And then they somehow collapse, they remove some of the key evidence. So by the time it gets to court, then there's no big case. But when I know, and I've seen that this is on the website, they got 800 million shillings and they should have gotten this, people will come up. They will come up with all the evidence, and they will not accept if court says there's no evidence. They will say no. Then Parliament should enter in and say, but what is needed? What evidence is needed? And how we learn from those particular cases and then make things better. As simple as that.
Corruption is when civilians are killed in November of 2020, 18th and 19th, in Luka district and various areas in this country, and the police says, no, they were rioters.
Well,
but then the CID director, Grace Akulo, comes out and says, no, many of them were just innocent civilians, bystanders. They were just going about their business. That is corruption when you tell the investigator to investigate themselves. What will they come up with? The police came up with a report. We haven't seen it up to now. It came up in January. These are the cases of corruption we are talking about. The fact that the people who wield power are the corrupt ones. How do we involve the Wananchi, the local people at the ground level, even in the wake of these power imbalances, to actually do something?
Well,
tangibly.
I suggest that discussion of riots and blah, corruption, that one should be for another day, because
it's an example.
I don't want to get into
It's an example of power where those people who wield power are being told, please investigate yourself, and it's really hard. And that's why the president is finding trouble, because he knows these corrupt people, but he has no evidence, because he can't investigate. You can't tell the person you want to arrest, please investigate yourself. I think your office has a problem.
Well, the biggest corruption that we're talking about here is where people are taking money. That is the key that we should now start with. The other ones,
moral corruption.
The other ones will follow, because right now we need the money.
Indeed.
We need the money. We need to save money. We need to pick back the money that was stolen.
GBV cases, HIV.
Then, as soon as we have the money, then the other ones can also be, because we also come second. Because now the priority is to stop the leakage and bring back the money that was stolen. Yeah.
So how do you tangibly involve the groups of people you are talking about, the young people, the Wananchi on the ground?
First of all,
because you say government should avail information to them, and I told you the internet is blocked. They can't read the information. That was one fact. So tangibly, how can the young people get involved in the wake of all these loopholes that we are talking about?
We are going to start with the parish. The parish, at parish level, there should be files of accountability for a particular location.
I see.
And then from a parish, sub-county and county, and then district level. Now at the district level, it's when we can now have internet. Website for each district, and then that district, they put there the accountabilities, they put there the contracts, they put there the
free
details.
Access?
Free access.
Nice.
No, of course, the internet is not free; it's a small charge, but at least now there will be information available for all stakeholders to analyze, because you see, you cannot fight what you have what you've not analyzed and what you don't understand.
Indeed.
They will see the information and compare, and then say, oh, there's a problem here. That is at district level. And then when you come to the ministries, to MDAs and everything, they should also do the same, including these agencies I've talked about, like UNRA, like URA, should also do the same, so that information is public. Then when it comes to the judgments, the corruption judgments, they should also do the same. Because usually you might find problems there, and then the people will be the ones to look at them and say, there's a problem here. Now, after giving public access of information to the public, now you have to find a way, how is the information going to come to the IGG, to the Anti-Corruption Unit of State House. You have to now make the accessibility very clear and very simple for the Wananchi. When you call in, you get the, for instance, reference number. There should be a lot of innovations. For instance, when you're going to get UNEB, you can results. You can put in a code and send to a number.
USSD.
Yeah. The same with this. If I have a reference number of a case, I should put in and get an update. And then they tell me your case has been sanctioned, or it is at this stage, or it is at this stage, or it is closed. So things should be simple for the common man to join the war and fight.
Do you agree that all this starts with easy access to information for our dear citizens? And do you also believe that the biggest form of corruption that has transpired during this COVID-19 pandemic pertains to the access to information? Dear citizens in this country have a right to access information. Now, with the continued clampdown on social media, Facebook and so forth, don't you think that was the biggest manifestation of corruption? The fact that they clamped down on the right of the dear citizens to access information so that they would verifiably add some stones or, value to the fight against corruption?
Well, you're talking about Facebook, but there's internet. So what I'm talking about is internet, not Facebook, because internet is one which is everywhere.
But you are talking about we need to look out for the young people who are on Facebook, 3.3 million young people. Aren't they the ones we are targeting?
Well, my solution is strategic. The details that one can come in after the strategic one is sorted. Yeah, so we should
it's not only Facebook. Even the internet itself has a 12% tax on that. So we are talking about the government using access to information as a tool to fight corruption, but then information is being locked up on the internet with a 12% tax on data, and also this clampdown on this social media ban. So don't you think, in a way, some of these people are keeping these bans there, you know, knowingly, because they do not want this information to come out?
Well, I think we should look at a bigger picture. A bigger picture is, what do we want? What are we fighting? We are losing trillions of shillings. We either have to stop the money from being lost, or we have to bring the money from that has been stolen. That is the bigger picture. So we should concentrate on the bigger picture. And these other issues that are small or down there, they will be sorted with time. Because now, right now, we need to sort the big picture. We need to come, when you see the perception index, we are number 140 something. We should now be looking at coming down to 30s and whatever, down. We should learn from those other countries that are number one. Number two, they give access, public information is available to all citizens of those countries. Yeah, so we should do the same if you want to win this war.
Has the new IGG energized the fight against, you know, corruption? In your opinion?
She started on a good note, and she has the courage, she has the stamina, and we need to support her. We need to support her. We need to support everyone, and then she'll make it. Yeah,
of course, you do have the mafias who are, you know, on her neck. How does she circumvent that problem? The Prime Minister Nabanja also mentioned the same thing. Corrupt mafias were actually looking out for her in her life. How do they circumvent all these problems as our leaders to ensure that we stamp out corruption? When you talk about mafias, it means the colleagues they work with are the mafias in that regard, and they're now in turn threatening them. So how do you fight corruption when even the people you are working with, some of them are actually tainted with corruption?
Well, the mafias are businessmen. They see that corruption is the easy way to get money, because they see you can steal 4 trillion shillings, and it will be very hard for you to go through court and bring back all the 4 trillion shillings. So the best way to stop those mafias is make corruption dangerous and expensive.
Dangerous and expensive, yes. How so?
Make corruption dangerous and expensive. Once you make it dangerous and expensive, these so-called mafias will just find other business to do. They will not now look for the easy money from corruption network. They are making corruption dangerous. First of all, like I said, you share the information with the public. Once you share the information with the public, then everybody, judiciary, parliament, they will be forced to do what they are supposed to do. Everyone will be forced. Because these people, they are the ones who have the power. The Wananchi has the power. You can't see that now there's this problem, there's a procurement problem here. They will get tired. And now parliament will be forced to come down and say, what do we do with judiciary? What do we do? And the solution will be sorted.
I see.
Yeah, you will not have to, like I told you, light chases away corruption. Light chases away darkness. The same way, when you have public information given to the people, these guys will just disappear.
Well, the Commander-in-Chief, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Habura, doesn't think making information public will go a long way in stamping out corruption. But he believes if we do away with the issue of bail, the president believes if we keep these individuals at least 180 days, yes, before their trial or commencement and so forth, we should be able to make corruption dangerous and, you know, set a bad precedent that will actually ward off other would-be unscrupulous individuals from actually orchestrating the same. Are you also subscribing to the same ideology of the president who says if you remove bail, at least 180 days when this person is, you know, caught by the police officers, it will go a long way in also stamping out corruption and also mob justice that culminates when these people steal money and they get bail and members of the public beat them up or to death?
Well, like I told you, I'm looking at the bigger picture. The bail issue, I suggest that we discuss it another time. When
let's discuss it now, Joseph, because you are saying we should make information public. The president is saying let's remove bail. So ideally, is it a good strategy? Because we are making the issue of corruption dangerous so that other people stay away from it.
Well, the president is talking about other things, the criminals that are released, and for us right now, we are talking about
solutions to remove, and he thinks that is one of the solutions.
Well, like I told you, let's only go on the bigger picture. the others can follow.
I see.
Yeah, that issue, what the president is saying, he's right, but I wouldn't want to bring it in this discussion of corruption because it will now take us in a different area. Yes, please.
All right. Besides making information public, what else needs to be done to set a bad precedent to other would-be unscrupulous individuals and make, corruption very bad for them?
Well, first of all, I want to thank the president. He always talking about corruption. And the same should happen to all leaders. I don't see why people fear talking about corruption. The leaders you find is only the president and maybe the prime minister and maybe some other few ministers, but it's a fight for everyone. Even individuals like me should now also join the fight about corruption. So when we talk about the corruption issue, everyone talks about the corruption, then the people will understand. And then they will now fight. They will know it is their war. Now they don't know. People don't know that it is their war. But once everybody talks about it, they will know it is their war, and then the problem will
we have a very weak protection law, Joseph. So we are talking about a prime minister who has one too many times come out and said, well, mafias are on my neck. I think I'm in trouble. You understand? Other government leaders have also come out. So what are the chances that a normal civilian is also going to come out and go against a powerful minister or a powerful MP, knowing very well of the repercussions that might come through or the fight that might come back to them, also in the wake of these loopholes that I told you about, a weak witness protection law? What are the chances that citizens are going to embark onto this fight, knowing about the precarious nature of the same?
Well, I'm an example. I'm here talking about corruption, so everyone can do it. It is not hard. What is important is you know what you are supposed to do. You know your rights.
All right.
And once that is done, and once the people, the corruption network know that I know my rights and everyone knows their rights, they will just disappear. They will go into another business. Yes, please.
All right, that is Joseph for you. Thank you very much for having made a time to speak to us on this very pertinent issue of corruption. You ought to be making information public so that the individuals on the ground also get involved in blowing the whistle and stamping out this problem that has been dogging this country since time immemorial. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and glory be to God.
Indeed. All right, you're still watching Morning at NTV. Of course, this platform will not succumb to any pressures, internal or external, from the opposition or government. We shall not actually be intimidated. We shall continue in our small miniature ways to continue to disseminate this information that the public really needs on a very non-partisan manner. All right, there you have it. Let's take a breather. We'll return shortly with more information. Simply